Welcome to the home team. I'm Terry Bradshaw. Today on the show, my special guest is sitcom legend Ed Asner. Also an interview with superstar Sylvester Stallone. And Thai cooking with celebrity chef Tommy Tang. Welcome. How you doing? Hello. Hi, honey. Gotcha. All right. Thank you. Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Just don't throw anything. Thank you and welcome to the show. My name is Terry Bradshaw, and I personally want to thank all of you for coming out today, and certainly all of you at home for tuning us in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a lot of careers in my life so far. Some of you may know me and may not like the fact that I played for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. I'm a cattleman, which automatically, you know, I'm not that smart. I'm in the cattle business, cattle and horse business. Occasionally I'll give motivational speeches, which turn into riots. And now I get to do this talk show. Now, this is great because I've always wanted to be in the middle of the action, you know, quarterback and all. And this show lets me be a fan. It lets me talk to the people, to the real people like you folks out here in the audience, to celebrities I've never dreamed of meeting. I mean, this is a great job. Am I right? Yes! I am a lucky man. Now, let me tell you who we get to meet on today's show. Sylvester Stallone. We have the men who built the Mars rover. They'll be with us, and they're going to bring in a replica of the vehicle for us. Now, hey, it's a little bitty tiny thing. You're going to find it hard to believe, but from 150 million miles away, this thing can send back signals. I mean, you'll be blown away by that. And then you'll certainly going to remember my first guest from the Mary Tyler Moore Show and the Lou Grant Show. You kids know him from the voice of Batman the Animated Series. Please welcome 7-time Emmy and 5-time Golden Globe winner, member of the TV Hall of Fame, Ed Asner. Ed! Yes! Welcome. Lovely.
Small but big.
Is that nice? Great. You know, it's just something about that Hall of Fame that turned them on, Ed.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Now, before we begin, why don't you tell me about how ardently you always dreamed of meeting me?
Now, did I tell y'all that story, how ardently I'd always dreamed? Well, it's such a long story, Ed. I don't know that I would really...
Well, all right.
I mean, it's a long story. But last night, I did have a dream since I knew you were going to be, gosh, I can't wait for this great man. I actually, you know, you're a much taller, much bigger, powerful person than I dreamed. I mean, you really are quite...
Leprechauns? Is that really it?
Now, I want to ask you, how can you go from being, you know, winning awards for being a funny guy, a comedian on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and then take Lou Grant, the character, into the Lou Grant Show, and then win a drama? How does that's unheard of. I don't think it's ever happened. I don't think so.
It was never done before, and after the hell we went through, trying to take this character that had been comedic and take it into a drama without losing all the comedy.
How did they know it would work, though?
They didn't. They just felt like they were cocks of the walk and that we could do it. But it took 2 years before we got squared away.
But your training as a comedian coming from Chicago, did you have to, how hard was it to lay down the comedic side of Lou Grant and pick up the dramatic side? Because I would think, obviously, when we say TV Hall of Fame, that explains this man certainly can act, right, folks? So, I mean, you know, not understanding acting, I just am amazed that that's possible.
Well, both my comedy and my drama come from seeking a realistic base for it. And Jay Sandrich, who directed most of the Mary Tyler Moore, said that the interesting thing about me was that if I couldn't make it work realistically for me, then I couldn't make it work. That it always had to have a realistic base in terms of my comedy. But I did comedy on stage, and I loved it, but I always was afraid of it. And not until
Why would I be afraid? Seemed like comedy would be easier.
Well, because you got to laugh one night, and since we opened in the Seagull in Chicago, you got to laugh opening night. It was baffle. You go out the second night, you think you're doing the same thing.
Tubed.
Yeah.
Tank City.
Yeah. And you keep racking your brains, and you make yourself a nervous wreck. And finally, with Mary Tyler Moore, watching and relaxation, that's one big key. We just began to do it right and do it over and have that realistic base, and the laughs came.
I like so many actors, they did not just start off in television or movies and become huge stars. You, like many people who dreamed of being in theater and television and movies, started out with a lot of odd jobs. Could you kind of share? I know the folks would be interested in knowing just exactly what you did.
Well, worked on the assembly line in 2 different auto plants.
That works, assembly line.
I was a hooker helper in the steel mills.
Whoa, hooker helper. No. We don't have that kind of show here, folks.
What? You don't believe in steel?
I believe in steel, but you know what? Maybe that's my fault. I took that wrong, didn't I?
I helped a guy hook up the pots of steel to the cranes.
Of course you did.
Of course I do. Cherry.
I'm sorry. I got my mama be ashamed of me.
Yes, terrible. Sold shoes, Railway Express, sold over the phone. I was the worst salesman over the phone you ever heard in your life. Worst.
Encyclopedia.
Yeah, encyclopedias.
Everybody sold encyclopedias.
Yeah. I didn't get past the training phase because when I saw what the assistant manager would do to make a sale, I said, no, I'll starve.
Did you ever think that this would come?
No.
Television would?
No. I thought if I'm lucky to live a life in theater and showbiz, that if I could marry and have a couple of kids and send them through college, I would have had the world.
Yeah, well, you've certainly done all that now. You have a new project. Yes, absolutely. Tell all our folks at home and our audience the project, and I know we have a clip here to kind of define it, but kind of tell us about the project that you have now.
Oh, we just finished.
Which I really like, by the way.
Did you see it?
I have not seen it, but they told me about it, and I said, you've got to be kidding. I knew this man played football back in Kansas City. He played tackle, so this is interesting.
Well, the guy responsible for it's supposed to be here, but with my bad eyes, I can't see him. Anyway, Mark Lassie dreamed up this wonderful idea about a town that has lost its football team, pro football team.
Sound familiar, folks?
So for 7 years...
I think of Cleveland automatically, but go ahead, in Baltimore.
Yeah, Mark comes from Baltimore.
Yeah, I bet.
So for 7 years, they've been hoping and praying that they'd get an expansion team. Well, the movie opens on the day that they announced the 2 new expansion teams, and that town ain't it. So I, as the leader of the former marching band, still rehearsing, go into plan 2, which is to kidnap the owner of the previous team.
Not a bad idea.
And force him into bringing the team back to our town.
A better idea.
Yeah, and the clip you're about to see is where my assistant, who horns in on the deal, I was going to do it all by myself. He horns in on the deal. He's a wonderful actor named Greg Sporleader. He horns in on the deal, and this is as we're about to get there.
And that sets it up. Okay, let's watch our monitors.
See,
Target spotted. No matter how he screams or begs for mercy or tries to buy his way out, you just remember what that greedy did to us. What he did to your dad. What he did to our city. For Quimby Falls?
for the whole show, folks. So stick around. We'll be with Chef Tommy Tang. He's going to cook some Thai curry pasta right after this.